You know, there can be nothing more important in any free land than the integrity of the vote. So I urge you guys to get involved with this True the Vote. Bob and I do a radio show, so, you know, we try to hold the interest of people. Sometimes I get a little excited. There are those who might even call me somewhat bombastic.
Oh, you're a kid.
But there are also times I get very deadly serious. So I'm going to turn the volume down here a little bit, and I'm going to ask you to really listen to what I'm going to say. We all throw around the word tyranny. And there are those out there in that crowd who think maybe it's just rhetoric. But I will assure you that we are living right now under a greater level of tyranny than King George of Britain ever dreamed of imposing on the colonies. Never in King George's wildest fantasies did he ever come up with the idea that he could tell a man how to build his home on his own property. Never in any type of orgiastic display of monarchical power did he think he could tell mothers what to feed their children, or not to feed them at all, because his ministers knew better on how to feed them. And that's the level we've come to here. Tyranny comes in many, many forms, ladies and gentlemen. We all recognize tyranny when it comes down the street being carried by the boots of Hessian mercenaries, or by tanks rolling down and running off. But how many of us truly recognize that tyranny takes so many, many forms, and it is just as devastating to your liberty? How many of you understand that while it is the most perfect of human documents, and the Constitution is our sales document of why people should be free, that it has been not just the energy of the American people, but it has been the ability of this country to produce, because of inexpensive energy, that has led America to be the greatest economic engine the world has ever known. And make no mistake, in spite of what the left tells you, it is economic power that brings liberty to the people. When they take your money, they take your liberty. And there's a lot of ways to take your money. Sometimes it's done as Willie Sutton done it, with a gun in your face. Sometimes we just pass a law. But sometimes we continue to put ridiculous and devastating regulation on essential industry. And one of those industries that provides that economic drive is our energy industries. The next speaker I'm going to introduce you to here is known as the voice of energy. Her name is Marita Noon. She is the Executive Director at Energy Makes America Great Incorporated. It is the advocacy arm of the Citizens Alliance for Responsible Energy, working to educate the public and influence policymakers regarding energy. Its role in freedom and its role in freedom and the American way of life. She is a popular speaker, and by all editorialize, she's a very dynamic speaker. A frequent guest on television and radio, her commentaries have been published in newspapers, blogs, and websites nationwide. She has just completed a book called Take Away Energy and You Take Away Freedom. And you can find out more about that at www.energymakesamericagreat.org. It is my great pleasure. Please put your hands together for Miss Marita Noon.
Well, let's hear it.
Thank you so much, you all. It's great to be with you today. How many of you have heard me speak before? I know some of you have. Okay, well, good. Many of you have. I have a surprising announcement to make that will surprise some of you that know me and who have heard me speak before. And that announcement is that I believe in man-made climate change. Now, let me tell you what I mean. Y'all are kind of silent on that, like, did she just say that? Did I just hear her correctly? But I want to tell you that the climate has changed. The political climate, the climate in Washington, D.C. has changed. The climate in Santa Fe has changed. And you know why that climate has changed? It's because of man. It is a man-made climate change. And each and every one of you here, while you may be not filling the plaza here on this brisk April day, you are the people who have made a change. There's a lot of negative things we could talk about going on out there, but I want to focus on the positives because each one of you here have shown up, you're standing up, and you have spoken up. You all are making a difference in America today. And you deserve applause for that. I have in my hand an article from last week's New York Times, dated April 5th, should you care to look it up. And in this article, Fred Krupp, the chairman, the president, of the Environmental Defense Fund. In this article, he says that the environmentalists need to change from being on the offense to being on the defense. He is the president of one of the largest environmental groups in America. For 40 years, they have controlled the agenda. While each one of you here have been at home, comfortable. You've liked America. You've liked the land that you live in. You've been working and you've been raising your families. While you have been sleeping, they have been pushing incremental change. Chip away a little here, chip away a little there. And before long, America is not the place that we knew it to be. It was not the place that those of us who are here today, that those of us who care enough about America to stand in a plaza in a city where most people or many people will say don't agree with us. You're willing to take a stand. You're willing to carry a sign, and you're willing to be a voice. And why are you all here today? You are here because you, each and every one of you, have waken up. You have not only waken up, but you have also shown up, and you, each one of you here, have changed that climate in America to the point that the environmentalists are now saying, wait a minute, we need to change our viewpoint. We need to do something different because you know what? The climate has changed. Now I don't want you to, as you look around at this group, to think, well, you know, we're just a little group. I don't want you to be discouraged because you know what? Little groups like this all over America, and it's my understanding that today, or this weekend, tax weekend, that more than 200 groups are meeting in places like this throughout America. And it is these little groups who have come together with a common cause, and we have together changed the climate. Now, it was brought up that I am involved in energy. I am involved in the energy that makes America great. Each and every one of you are here today in one form or another because of energy. But you know what? That plan that the environmentalists have been working on for 40 years is a plan that blocks energy production in America. Right now, in southeastern New Mexico, not right now this exact day or this moment, but this month, right now, there is a battle going on in southeastern New Mexico. And this battle will block oil and gas development in southeastern New Mexico and West Texas. How many of you know what this battle is about? Any of you know? It is about the sand dunes lizard, or it is about a lizard. It is about a lizard that it happens to like to live on the surface in the same place where the oil and gas is underneath. And plans are underway, part of that incremental change that has been going on. Plans are underway to block energy development in America in favor of a lizard, in favor of a lesser prairie chicken, in favor of some critter that is going to change America. But you know what? You all have woken up. You have stood up. You have shown up. And you have also spoken up. You have called your local state representatives, your congressmen, your senators. How many of you have your senators and congressmen's phone numbers programmed into your cell phone? A handful of you do. The rest of you make a commitment today that you're going to go home and put those phone numbers in your cell phone. You need to call them when you're unhappy, but you also need to call them when you're happy. Let them know that you appreciate what they're doing because they need your support. A couple of weeks ago, there was a vote in Washington, D.C., and it was a vote on what was called the McConnell Amendment. Do any of you know what I'm talking about? The McConnell Amendment, it had no chance of passing. However, what the McConnell Amendment was about was limiting the EPA's ability to regulate greenhouse gases. I'm going to tell you, there were 4 bills at the same time. The 3 that were not as hard on the EPA that said, well, you know, maybe you shouldn't do this, maybe you should tone this down a little. They lost by, for example, a vote of 7-93. They were trounced. But the McConnell Amendment, which was the strongest, the one that said, EPA, you may not do this. You are trampling on our freedoms. That vote was a 50-50 vote in the Senate in Washington, D.C. 50 people voted for it, 50 voted against it. I consider that to be a win because people are waking up. They are beginning to realize that if you take away energy, you take away freedom. Why are they so concerned about blocking energy in America? What are the goals? What do they hope to take away? They hope to take away freedom. They hope to take away our freedom. But you know what? That climate has changed. And because of you, because you have stood strong, I want to encourage you to continue to stand strong, that you can have a voice. I have for each one of you here today, if you'd like, that I always have with me when I speak somewhere. I have a bumper sticker. No, it's not biodegradable. And I don't want you to take one unless you'll put it on your car. I don't want any of you to take one unless you'll put it on your car. Do not take it just to humor me. Do not take it just because I'm giving it to you free. Take it because you can get a subtle message out. You don't have to hold a sign. You can be passive, but you can put this "Energy Makes America Great" bumper sticker on your car. And why should you care about energy? Remember, because if you take away energy, you take away freedom. You take away energy and you take away freedom. So today, as you look at those who are standing around you, some who agree with you, some who disagree with you. But as you're looking at those people around you today, I want you to be encouraged that while we may be a smaller group than we'd like to see in numbers, that all of you have already made a change in America. And you can sit at home in your house, you don't have to carry a sign on a plaza, and you can make phone calls and you can send emails and you can let them know in Santa Fe and in Washington, D.C., and in your cities, your individual communities, you can let them know what you think. Because you are no longer asleep, America. You have waken up. You have shown up. You have stood up. And you have spoken up. The climate has changed. And the reason the climate has changed is because of people like you care enough to wake up, show up, stand up, and speak up. Thank you for your efforts. Keep at it.